Well, good evening, everyone. No, again, I'm not Ben Viola here. It's Keith Reddington once again standing in for Ben, who is on assignment tonight. I sent him away to go work on his craft somewhere in the state. But all joking aside, he is doing something with the family this evening. So I said I would jump on and introduce our guest this evening for his 10th consecutive nutrition and acupressure webinar series. This is class number 10, which is the last of the series. I'm glad you all made it all the way through. We've got some diehards here. And tonight's topic from Dr. Baritz is how to improve intermittent fasting results. So without further ado, Dr. Baritz.
Hi, great to be with you tonight. So the subject tonight is how to improve intermittent fasting results. This fasting, I know, is a fascinating issue. And so if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box as you think of them, because I definitely want to cover as much as that I can with you. Let's just start from the beginning. Fasting is defined as going for a certain length of time without eating and sometimes without drinking. Absolute fasting refers to withholding both food and drink. This may be done for religious purposes, but is not recommended for health benefits because of the accompanying dehydration. In this webinar, fasting is defined as the voluntary act of not eating for a specific period of time. Drinking water is an essential part of the fast, and additives such as lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, tea, and coffee are permitted. Micronutrients such as vitamins and trace minerals are also taken during the fast. Fasting cleanses, renews, and rejuvenates. Scientific studies and clinical practice and personal experience shows that fasting boosts cognitive performance, reduces inflammation in your body, improves your overall fitness, whether or not you exercise. Of course, it supports weight loss. Look, anyone will tell you, if you don't eat, you're going to lose weight. It's a no-brainer. Sometimes we're too complex with weight loss. Sometimes all it takes is just not eating for a little while. And fasting decreases the risk of metabolic diseases. For each of these points, there is no question. There is no legitimate discussion as to whether or not these things occur. They occur like the sun rises in the morning. Fasting is as old as mankind. The instinct to refrain from food when the body is sick or wounded is in every mammal. For that reason, animals refuse to eat when sick or injured. Fasting is mentioned 40 times in the Bible and 13 times in the Quran. Fasting has been practiced by most ancient civilizations for the recovery of health, preservation of youth, and spiritual reasons. And the only reason why I say most and not all is because we have records in most ancient civilizations. It certainly may have and probably was likely practiced in all, but we can only say most because we only have records from most. Famous quotes about fasting. A little starvation can really do more for the average sick man than can the best medicines and the best doctors. Mark Twain. The best of all medicines is resting and fasting. Benjamin Franklin. A genuine fast cleanses the body, mind, and soul. Mahatma Gandhi. And this kind can come out only by fasting and prayer. This kind can come out only by fasting and prayer. And this is what Jesus said when he was asked how he was able to cure a boy of an evil spirit that was causing seizures that we now know to be epilepsy. This kind can come out only by fasting and prayer. What are the stages of fasting? What can you expect? Well, fasting actually begins before fasting, and that is with eating. So when you feed, insulin levels rise, glucose is used for energy or stored as glycogen in the muscles and the liver and as fat. 6 to 22 hours after your last meal, you're in the post-absorption phase. Insulin levels fall. Glycogen now releases glucose to feed your body's feeling for sugar. Before the glycogen is released, this is the time when many people will feel some hunger. We'll talk about what to do about that in a little bit. 24 to 48 hours, gluconeogenesis. The available glycogen from the liver and the muscles is used up. There's only about 24 hours in there. And so now the liver has to make glucose, and it does it by reaching in to the fat in the body and turning it into sugar. Day 1 to 3, ketosis. Stored fat is now being used in earnest for energy, and ketone bodies are released from the fat, which your body can directly use as energy. So you don't have to, so you're really now supplanting gluconeogenesis with the direct breakdown of fat into these ketones, which can feed your body, can feed your brain, provide the energy that you need. Days 5 to 10, that's the protein conservation phase. And that is done by increased growth hormone and adrenaline. Now think about it for a minute. Many people are concerned that they're going to lose muscle mass while they're fasting. Well, the body will not let this happen, certainly during the 5 to 10 phase, because the body will go into protein conservation and will release precious growth hormone to improve. Growth hormone promotes muscle growth and the expression of sex hormones. So if you want to have a more muscular, sexier body, then you want to get into a 5 to 10 day fast. And I'll tell you how to do it. It's actually not that difficult. These things are, the stages I mentioned to you are based upon numerous scientific studies that have been repeated many, many times. So you can take this as pretty much gospel. This is the way it occurs. The night follows the day follows the night. Hour 6 to 22, post-absorption phase, 24 to 48 hours, gluconeogenesis, 1 to 3 days, ketosis, 5 to 10 days, growth hormone increased. Okay, human bodies are well adapted to fasting by switching from using glucose for energy to using stored energy as fat. The body does not metabolize muscles until fat stores are exhausted. The average American has enough fat sitting on their body to go 6 months plus without ever exhausting their fat stores. As a matter of fact, the longest fast that I've been able to find on record crosses 380 days. This was a 400-pound plus male. He survived on water and vitamins, and he lost over 200 pounds. This was a medical fast. He was constantly monitored by blood tests, urine tests, of course, blood pressure, heart rate, rhythm, EKG. None of the tests went out of range. His heart did not go out of range. This was a healthy procedure for him. Now, I don't recommend that unless you're under strict medical supervision by an experienced physician, but I'm going to drop you into the slot to move yourself and your patients into to safely move yourself and your patients into the higher level of fasting. It's interesting to note that the body does not switch from glucose fuel to fat fuel when eating low carb diets, low calorie diets. So people say, hey, how can I fast? I just cut my calories and I'm starving. It's different. If you feed yourself even a little bit, the body doesn't make the switch. So it's now dying for that quick sugar fix. So don't mistake a low calorie diet for fasting. They're two separate procedures. They have to be handled in different ways. And in my experience in the clinic and for myself, fasting is much, much easier than a low carb diet and ultimately more successful because it's easier. Okay, who should not fast? Women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. There are special nutrient demands on their body. There's special nutrient demands on the body of their unborn or their new infant. You don't want to mess with that. Look, pregnancy only lasts for a fixed period of time. Breastfeeding only lasts for a fixed period of time. The woman can wait. When she's through with that, we'll dig in and we're going to lose that baby weight and get her in better shape than before the pregnancy. Of course, the baby should never be fasted. As you'll see in a minute, children under 18 have special metabolic demands. We do not want to have any potential for impacting the important growth phase. I don't recommend fasting for anyone who is under 18 years of age. Okay, people who have a history of eating disorders, they should not be fasting because it may trigger an episode of some type of unhealthy non-eating. There are other programs for them. There's fabulous stuff we can do for them. Fasting is not recommended. And anyone who is underweight or severely malnourished should not fast because it's not gonna, nothing good will come from that. If you have a patient that you are concerned, should I let them fast? Shouldn't I let them fast? And you search, you can't find the answer, please contact me through Ben or Keith. Let me walk you through this. Fasting is too valuable and too useful of a procedure to use on someone who will not help or to fail to use on somebody who it will help. Okay, fasting is best undertaken under the supervision of an experienced healthcare provider. And one should check with their medical doctor if they have gout, if they're taking prescription medication, if they're a type 1 or a type 2 diabetic, or if they have GERD. Okay. Uric acid levels can increase during a fast. This may not be a problem for most people with gout, but you want to be sure. As regards medications, most common medications that cause problems are aspirin, which can cause gastritis or ulcers if not taken with food. Metformin, iron, and magnesium supplements also need to be taken with food. So it's possible for you to work with their physician or for them to work with their physician if they say, I'm committed, I want to try this, to get around these barriers. But this is something that should be undertaken with full knowledge and some understanding between the physician and the patient so nobody runs into trouble. Now, in terms of magnesium, there's another way of getting around it. If you made magnesium supplements, which might cause diarrhea if you're taking it on an empty stomach, you can take Epsom salts baths and soak in a hot tub for 30 minutes, and you'll get the magnesiums transdermally. If you're interested in how that's done, you can go to my video, Inflammation, Friend or Foe, and that'll show you how to use the Epsom salts bath. Obviously, diabetics, their blood sugar. So fasting reduces blood sugar. That's part of the whole idea. And it reduces insulin resistance. So if we reduce insulin resistance, the metformin that the person is taking may suddenly become an overload or an overdose and cause the blood sugar to crash precipitously, which can be a poor situation. So typically, the person will talk with their physician, say, look, I've done a few mini fasts. I want to do a bigger one. I have these goals. What would you suggest? And most physicians might give them a trial dose of a lower metformin, or tell them to watch their blood sugars and adjust their metformin accordingly. This is well beyond my pay grade, your pay grade, unless you're a medical doctor. Fasting can be done, but that's my suggestion. Okay, there are many types of fasts. In this webinar, I will limit my comments to the fasting protocol that I recommend for my patients. I will leave the explanation of other fasts to the experts in those fasting regimes. I recommend that you and your patients start with a 24-hour distilled water fast. Yep, a distilled water fast. I start my patients with a 24-hour distilled water fast once a week for a few weeks. One consumes distilled water and can add lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, and make coffee or tea. This is usually a dinner-to-dinner fast, and it may be an hour or so less than 24 hours. Let your digestive system rest and recover. No food after dinner, stopping between meal snacks, and skipping breakfast all gives your digestive system a chance to rest and recover, which has multiple benefits, including a boost to the immune system. 24-hour distilled water fast. It helps a person get used to handling and feeling the need to eat. The fact is, you don't need to eat every meal every day, as much as we've been seduced into believing that by the food industry. But bodies are creatures of habit. I'm a creature of habit. And so when it comes time for that dinner bell to ring, I'm like Pavlov's dog. I'm ready for my meal, whether I'm hungry or not. And so if you do a 24-hour distilled water fast, you get used to riding the highs and the lows. It breaks you in. It's less stressful because you continue to eat every day. And it also makes it easier to manage medications. It gets your body used to fasting, and it gives the body a chance to build up the metabolic pathways for longer fasts. Your body will gear up to be able to harvest food out of your fat by exercising your body, your fasting muscle. Hunger games. Hunger comes in waves. Don't believe it starts, it's going to last. Ride the wave, drink some water, activate the recommended acupuncture points, get busy. Plan a definite length to the fast, leaving time to break the fast. Leaving the time to break the fast uncertain promotes hunger. Now, my son decided he was going to go keto, and he's a great chef, and he makes a great blueberry pie, and we all enjoy his pie. But he decided he was going to have a great blueberry pie, but he was going to wait till Thanksgiving to have it when we have all our other pies. So all year, whenever he got this hankering for this pie, he could look forward to the blueberry pie coming up on Thanksgiving, and therefore that sustained him. So when you say, okay, I'm going to fast to dinner, okay, I'm a little hungry, but you can look forward to when the fast is going to end. If you say, I'm going to fast as long as I can, you don't have that certainty, and it actually works against you. Okay. The more often you fast, the less you would be bothered by hunger. After 2 or 3 days, most people will tell you the hunger disappears. And I suggest that you stay motivated by listening to and reading information and inspiring material about fasting, which is exactly what I did during my recent 8-day distilled water fast. And I'll give you a list of some of my favorite references as we come to the end of our workshop. Okay, what happens if I break my fast sooner than planned? No problem. The sun rises tomorrow and you can try again. Plus, you've gained valuable experience. Discuss your difficulties with your healthcare provider, and he or she can help you with strategies to become more successful the next time. Why distilled water? There are over 80,000 known contaminants that can leach into the water. Municipal water supplies are usually treated with chemicals such as fluoride. Water contains all manner of microorganisms. Steam distilled water evaporates, leaving contaminants and microorganisms behind, and then condenses to pure H2O. Is distilled water safe? Well, we've often been told that we shouldn't just drink distilled water because it'll leach minerals out of your body. I believe this to be true. However, when I researched it, I found that that information was based on 2 flawed scientific studies that then propagated virally throughout the healthcare community. So here's the question. Is distilled water safe to drink? Of course it is. Nature constantly distills water. Nature constantly evaporates water from the ocean. That's distilled water, and then precipitates it as almost pure H2O. Throughout history, many people have lived on collected rainwater, and there are no records of this natural process causing any deficiencies. Distilled water tends to taste a little flat because there are no minerals, so adding lemon juice or apple cider vinegar can help. Do I run the risk of mineral deficiencies if I just drink distilled water? Nope. The hardest drinking water, and hard that's by measuring minerals, supplies only 1% of the recommended daily minerals. The loss is insignificant. I do recommend that twice daily you take a mineral supplement during fast, which I will get to soon. Extending the fast, 36 to 40 hours. Okay, now you're ready. The patient is ready. You've done the 24-hour fast 2, 3, 4 times. You're ready to go. Now you go for 36 hours. One day, no eating after dinner. Day 1, don't eat after dinner. Day 2, don't eat nothing. Day 3, resume eating on your normal schedule. The 24 and 36 to 40-hour fast are typically done a few times a week for a month or longer. This is a sustainable type of fasting, and many people make this a lifestyle. Extended fast. 7 to 10-day fast, a few times a year for deep detox, deep health benefits, and as weight maintenance insurance. Extended fasts require a gradient approach to the reintroduction of food. Hey, you're worrying about not eating? I'm worried about what's going to happen when you start to eat again. So just so you know, once you cross day 2, day 3, hunger is gone. You know, maybe you'll be different, but I don't think so, because your biology isn't different. What's going to happen is you're going to go deep into ketosis. Your body is sucking the energy out of the fat in your body, and it's very happy with it. The body is burning ketones. Neuronal neogenesis is occurring. That means stem cells are being cultivated in the nervous tissue, and they're differentiating to new neurons. This feels very good. It feels sharp. You feel alert. You feel awake. Your memory is improved. Your chance for Alzheimer's, dementia decreases every day you do this. However, reintroduction of food has to be done a little bit with half a brain, because once you open the gate, you will now think, I'm loving it. And that food tastes great. I got to tell you, it tastes really good. And you're going to want to eat a lot. But you really need to give your body a chance to get used to eating food, have a small meal. I'll probably talk about that in a minute, but have just a small meal, something easy to digest, wait an hour or two, have another small meal, maybe another hour or two, maybe have something a little bigger, maybe an egg, something like that, and just cruise into it that day. Usually the next day, you'll be eating again. This is the time to roll into a healthier lifestyle. You've come so far, you've achieved so much. Now let's roll into a heavier, a better lifestyle, both diet and exercise. Okay, what to consume during your fast? Distilled water, sparkling water, spring water. Hey, you don't want to do distilled water? Not a problem. I recommend Himalayan pink sea salt, up to 1 teaspoon to the water. Add the lemon or lime juice, apple cider vinegar, a slice of orange or cucumber. But don't consume the slice, just the liquid. And you can make coffee or tea with some spices such as cinnamon. Okay, here's the reference guide I've created for you and your patients. Here is the how to find the acupuncture points. Here are the acupuncture points. We'll look at those in a minute. Here are the supplements. We'll look at those in a minute. And here are the tips and references that I talked about. We'll look a little bit more at that. And here's your disclaimer. Okay, permit me. We are still offering our courses. The April sale is complete, but really at $199.95, these courses are a steal. You can jump on my website and read the talking points for each of these courses for your patients. Here is the how to help your dog be happier. Okay, vitamins and minerals. Patients to continue their supplement and ensure they're taking the 2 trace minerals B12 tabs per day. Okay, their normal standard process vitamin mineral program will not impact their fasting. Alternative, for people who are not on a standard process program, I recommend take 2 general health packs per day. The general health pack includes Catalin, which is Dr. Royaley's first product. It supplies multiple vitamins, contains antioxidants and vital nutrients from whole food and other sources, supplies multiple vitamins for complex nutritional supplementation, which is just what you need. Trace minerals B12 provides a broad spectrum of minerals that support the body, provides essential cofactors for healthy cell functioning, provides iodine, which is required for healthy thyroid, spleen, and red blood cell functioning. Among other functions, these trace minerals support ligament, cartilage, and bone structure, immune system response function, thyroid function, fat metabolism, and calcium utilization. So the trace mineral tabs will help your body tap into the fat stores. And of course, it's an excellent source of vitamin B12, iodine, zinc for the immune system, copper, and manganese. Okay, tuna omega-3 supports cognition, supports hair, skin, and nails, supports energy balance, supports the body's normal inflammatory response function as it relates to periodic challenges like supports the body's natural inflammatory response function as it relates to periodic challenges like missing meals, read fasting. How to improve intermittent fasting results. Let's take a look at the acupuncture points.
Hello. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to improve intermittent fasting results. Are you having trouble fasting or having trouble sleeping while fasting? Have you stopped losing weight, or even worse, are you gaining weight while fasting? Some people are ready to give up on intermittent fasting because it seems like they're doing everything right, but they're still just not getting the results. If you're having trouble with fasting, I want you to know that stimulating certain acupuncture points can make fasting easier and just might get your weight loss started again. In Asia, both the positive and negative effects of fasting have been well known for thousands of years. And certain acupuncture points are traditionally used to help people get the benefit of fasting while minimizing or eliminating unwanted effects. In this video, I'm going to show you how to locate and activate 3 acupuncture points to help you get better results with intermittent fasting. It's recommended that you use all 3 points because they work together for best results. My name is Dr. Baritz. I'm a chiropractor, nutritionist, and herbalist. I've helped thousands of people live better naturally, and I want to help you too. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified when more videos like this come out. The first point known to help with intermittent fasting is conception vessel 4. Conception vessel 4 is known as gate of origin. Conception vessel 4 produces whole body effects and is an important point to treat fatigue. Conception vessel 4 is said to have a restorative effect on the body, which makes it perfectly suited to help reduce the hunger, nausea, sleeping problems, and moodiness that can accompany intermittent fasting. Conception vessel 4 is located at the width of 4 fingers below your umbilicus. To find conception vessel 4, place your hand just below your umbilicus, then find the point that would be just below your hand. Press in to find a spot that is sensitive, sore, tender, or painful. That is conception vessel 4. Activate conception vessel 4 by rubbing the area quickly 5 times. Take a break for a count of 5 and repeat 4 more times. It might look like this. Or if you have a Tei Shin, it might look like this. Now take a few deep breaths. You might just feel a little bit younger. I hope so. Repeated treatments deepen results. The next remarkable point to improve your response to intermittent fasting is conception vessel 6. Conception vessel 6 is known as the Sea of Qi, indicating that it is a reservoir of energy and vitality. If you experience low energy, moodiness, body aches, or hunger during fasting, then activating conception vessel 6 could make all the difference. Deep stimulation of acupuncture points on the abdomen is not recommended during the course of a pregnancy, but you probably shouldn't be fasting if you're pregnant anyway. Conception vessel 6 is located at the width of 2 fingers below your belly button. To locate conception vessel 6, put your index finger and your middle finger just below your belly button and find the point that is just below that. Push in to find a spot that is sensitive, sore, tender, or painful. That is conception vessel 6. Activate this point by rubbing the area quickly 5 times. Take a break for a count of 5 and repeat 4 more times. It might look like this. Or if you have a Tei Shin, it might look like this. The third useful point to boost results from intermittent fasting is spleen 6. Spleen 6 is known as 3 yin intersection because it is said to have a beneficial effect on the spleen, liver, and kidneys. These are the very same organs that are stressed by intermittent fasting, making this point a home run for intermittent fasting. If I could only give you one point for intermittent fasting, I would select this one. By using all 3 gives the best results. And since it doesn't cost anything, and it only takes a few minutes, I say go for it and activate all 3. Spleen 6 is located on the inside of your leg, the width of 4 fingers above the tip of your ankle bone. To find spleen 6, find the tip of your ankle bone, put your hand right there, and then find the spot that is just above your hand. Press in to find a point that is sensitive, sore, tender, or painful. That is spleen 6. Activate spleen 6 by rubbing this area quickly 5 times. Take a break for a count of 5 and repeat 4 more times. It might look like this. Or if you have a Tei Shin, it might look like this. Now find and activate spleen 6 on your right leg. If you're having any difficulty with intermittent fasting, or if you simply want to improve results of intermittent fasting, I suggest that you activate conception vessel 4, gate of origin, conception vessel 6, sea of qi, and spleen 6, 3 yin intersection, 3 times a day while fasting. And if you know someone who is interested in intermittent fasting, I encourage you to share this video with them. It is intended to help them optimize results and just might change their life.
Great. So these are the references that I recommend. The Miracle of Fasting by Paul Bragg, PhD, and Patricia Bragg, ND, PhD. Paul Bragg advocated fasting in his health crusades, way back in the 1920s. And he created really the first health food store. And his famous student, Jack LaLanne, said that his attending, Paul Bragg's health crusades, changed his entire life. I did meet Jack LaLanne when he came to my chiropractic college, and he did talk a little bit about his experience with Paul Bragg. They became great friends. The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, MD, certainly a more medical and scientific approach. So for those of you that want to understand more about the science, that's great. And The Complete Guide to Fasting by Jimmy Moore and Jason Fung, MD. Great read. I get the audiobook so I can listen to it in my car on the days that I'm fasting. Okay, and so this is a quick review. Here are the acupuncture points that I recommend. Here is my acupuncture reference guide. So I'd now like to get back to Keith and find out what questions you have, and I'd like to try to answer as many as I can.
Great. Well, we have 8 questions here. Some pieces of some of these questions may have already been answered there at the very end, but let's start with Constance's question. She was saying, when you go from a week of water and supplement fast, how do you bring in regular foods, period? What stages, ? And how much of what, like total amounts of grams of protein plus fats plus carbs per day for your recovery? I mean, it's pretty specific, but.
It's a great question. So I go usually for at least the first day, if not the first week, I'm going to go as much, no refined carbs as possible. That would not be the first thing I want to eat. So the first thing I want to have might be some homemade bone broth, some Beeler's broth, a small salad with some hummus, which I really enjoy, and that would be it. Maybe an hour or two later, I might make 1 egg, and my wife gets these almond flour tortillas. They're made out of almond flour, and what I do is I fry up that egg, and I put the tortilla in there, and I fry that in there with a little oil, and I make like a little egg burrito. Sometimes when I'm fasting, that burrito is too heavy for me. I'll just have the egg and maybe a little piece of the burrito. And then the next meal might be, a little heavier, maybe a fuller salad with maybe some sardines or some eggs, something like that. So hopefully that'll be helpful.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Adam is asking, is there some technology to speed up these phases to get the same results?
Not that I know of. It's like growing hair. There are people that are advertising it. I haven't found anything credible.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think there was. It's always nice to ask though, right, Adam?
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay, perfect. Constance again, how do you talk a patient into fasting versus low carbs?
Good question. Low carbs is a failure. And so what I would do, Constance, if I was you, I would get the book, Jason Fung's The Obesity Code. And he really debunks the failure of the eat less, exercise more strategy for weight loss. It actually doesn't work. All the scientific studies show that it doesn't work. But I don't get into a lot of discussion. I say, great, you're doing that. Why don't we try this? Why don't we try a 20? They're usually ready for a change. So I said, why don't we do something a little different? Why don't we try a 24-hour distilled water fast, dinner to dinner? You're still going to eat. Let's just give it a try and see how you feel. So I just approach it that way, pretty light.
Okay, excellent. Rhonda's asking, how much do uric acid levels rise while fasting, or is it just for a few days only?
I don't know. I don't have the exact answer to that question, but I can tell you for most people, it's not a huge rise. And I think the risk is more of a theoretical risk. I did do a search and I did find that there's some anecdotal evidence of people with gout flaring up on fasts. So I know it's a risk. I'm not sure how heavy a risk it is. So, they're going to have to just check with their PCP. They can always try. I really don't think that risk is going to engage on a 24-hour fast.
Okay. Well, then she had a second one to that. What about if you did it for 30 days? Would the uric acid levels go up more?
That, if you fasted for 30 days?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Constance just had more of a comment than a question, but patients with GERD, maybe they would actually be helped by doing a fast, seeing there's less food, which means the less need for the secretion of HCl from the stomach cells.
I couldn't agree more. And I had to put that in because that was in the literature. And it is true that a person can have some GERD, when they're fasting, they just get some stomach acid coming up. But my clinical experience, you have to take it for what it's worth, shows that is a minor issue. Hey, the person has some GERD, take the standard process supplement, or if they're on Prilosec, just take the Prilosec. I'm not recommending it, but if that's their routine, just take it. I don't see that as the kind of threat that's imposed by diabetic medication, or even the kind of threat. I don't see that as really that huge of a serious threat. Okay, so they get some acid reflux. So you eat something.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so that's my answer to that. But it does have to be handled, with you monitoring the person, so that the people don't get into trouble. Say, okay, I'm having a little acid reflux. They're talking to you. So you say, great. Try some, some of the standard process products. Try some of the Medior products. You try this, try that. If the person does it on their own, they may say, oh, I got some burning, but I'm not coughing up blood yet, so I'm going to try to toughen my way through it. So they really have to be under your good, knowledgeable support.
Okay, great. Adam is asking, have you come across distilled water in glass bottles versus plastic bottles?
I have not, but I haven't done a deep search for it. My guess is you're not going to find it. But if you're really concerned, you can get a home distilling unit and you just distill it yourself.
Correct. And Constance was wondering, I think this was already answered, but we'll ask it one more time. She was curious of why distilled water when there is no natural electrolytes in there.
Because it's purified. All the bacteria, all the viruses, that's all gone. All the stuff that's leaching in the water, that's all gone. So it's better than filtered water, because filter just filters some stuff, but other stuff gets past it. It's the cleanest water you can get. And to be honest with you, what really sold me on it was I found when I drank distilled water, it was far easier for me to go without eating my meals. I don't know why. I didn't even have a problem, quote unquote, taste flat. It wasn't a problem for me, but I found it was much easier for me to fast. So one, on a theoretical basis, two, on a scientific basis because of the purity of the water, and three, on a personal experience basis. That's why I jump on with the distilled.
Great. And the last one here. So Nancy was wondering, let me see if I can figure this out. How does it make it easier to manage medicines? I'm not sure if she's just asking if a patient is on medication while fasting.
Yeah. So if you are only fasting, if you're skipping a day, I mean, if you're going dinner to dinner, Well, see if you can have all the medicines you have to take with your food, have it at dinner. Aspirin, you take that without food and you run the risk of stomach ulcers, gastritis. I mean, that's serious. So that allows you to manage it. Other types of medications need to be taken with food. And so, dinner to dinner, person is still going to get benefit, and they can kind of manage the medications. Then later on, when they become an experienced faster, they can talk to their physician and see what can be done.
Wonderful. Well, that brings us to all the end of the questions here. So tonight was a bonus round, 45 minutes, almost on the dot. So
Yeah.
Dr. Baritz, I want to thank you on behalf of all of us tonight, all of us here at Standard Process Nutrition Northeast, for doing this 10 weeks of nutrition and acupressure series. We've enjoyed it. I know people have loved it. We're sure we'll get some comments and some emails and some text messages about that. But I guess anything you want to say before we leave you until we see you the next time?
It's really been a pleasure working with you. I love getting your feedback from you, and I really want to, I love hearing about, and I'd love to hear about your successes, using these procedures and products, with your patients.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Baritz. That's fantastic. And we look forward to seeing all of you again at the next go round, or at our next live, or in live webinars, live in-person events. And thanks once again. We'll see you all soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.